Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Welcome back to the second episode of the Pearson podcast. Who knew? Shooting this on Monday, January 11th. I hope your Monday or whatever day it is goes absolutely swell. Today, now, I've been pretty busy with life and getting my clothing line situated, and the website and the business license and the Willy Wonkas and all that stuff. So I haven't really had time to think of ideas for this podcast, because I'm going to categorize each episode into, like last episode was how I started my business. So this episode, right before I started recording, I just was like, alright, well, I'm just going to do adventures or something. And it's a little complex because, not to toot my own horn, but I've had a few different adventures. But, and I don't want to tell one would be to be like the whole podcast. So I'm just going to kind of skim through and just kind of remind myself about some of these. And if I remember one in the future, then I'll talk about it and bring it up and talk more detail about it. Now, I'm not sure if I should start in chronological order, or if I should just spit what my mind says. What my mind is saying to spit is, by the way, I apologize, but I might have to take a couple drink breaks throughout this. This is black coffee. It's a new me. I'm gonna try and get used to that, because I'm trying to do intermediate fasting, and before I had to have coffee in the morning, but I couldn't have it any other way than just loading that with creamer. So that obviously broke my intermediate fast. Let me right quick dim the screen, because it's kind of really blasting in my face. This'll do. And of course, the struggles of working with two monitors. Perfect. Alright. So, where was I? Adventures. Oh yeah, and last time, you know me, all over the place. Last time, the video was like a cropped box, and the audio was really low. Jeez, sorry. Maybe I need to rethink the black coffee. But, the audio was like, you had to turn it all the way for it to be like a normal, volume level. So hopefully this time, because I'm experimenting with different angles, hopefully this time will be better quality. Okay, so the adventure that my brain is telling me to tell, and probably, definitely my most adventurous adventures, would be, and I suppose I should make a category with adventures with my family and adventures with my friends, because they're two very different categories, you know what I mean? You're going to do a lot more wild and crazy stuff with your friends. No, but, and the ones with your family might be more sentimental and a little bit more thought out. But the one I'm going to talk about today I'll just talk all about this one adventure. I'm not going to skim through a bunch. Because these adventures, you can't skim through them. That's just disrespect. You know what I mean? So this one, drum roll, is the one that me and my friend Dallas went to the Aleutian Island of Unalaska. Unalaska. I mean, if you were like me last year, you were like, do you mean Alaska? No, Unalaska. You know the bridge that used to connect Russia and Alaska, the land bridge. You know that the one that is now underwater because of the water rising. It was part of that bridge, and it's it's one of the furthest. If you're just looking at Alaska, it's southwest of the Alaska body of land, and it's pretty far into the not the what's the ocean? I forgot, but it's some dope ocean. It's the one that's north of the Pacific. Not the Arctic Ocean. Maybe it's the same ocean as Pacific. I don't know. But yeah, I'm a ding dong. But so we went there with just me and him. Probably like $500, $500 or $600, willing to spend on that. So let me start from the beginning. Sorry. You know me, I'm just getting used to this stuff. I'm gonna be terrible. Bet on that. I would put all my money on that. So it started as an idea. Me and Dallas would just go hang out at our local hiking spots, because we're not about going to the bars and things like that. We'll grab a brew and go on a hike, bring some firewood, go out to the end of that hike and start a fire and hang out there. It's far enough in that no one will bother us, and I love being in nature. If you guys haven't done that, then for sure try it, because my golly. But being around a fire elevates the time by like 5 just off the bat. So we would do that, and we would go and sit and talk, and at the time, Dallas's dad was a airline pilot for a private airliner that took people to places around Alaska, like Unalaska, and places that are further out, and the regular airliners like Alaska Airliner and all those places wouldn't go because you need a smaller plane and whatnot. So one of the places that he went pretty regularly was Unalaska. And since he was a pilot, he had these buddy passes. And I believe, so it started, and I was like, yeah. And so Dallas was like, we gotta go there one day, show me pictures. And I was like, yeah, it's amazing, because if you haven't seen any pictures of it, then, look it up, because it's an island with no bears. Well, most islands aren't, but an island in Alaska with no bears, no mosquitoes. So those two, that's 90% of Alaska's population, bears and mosquitoes. More like 99 if you count the mosquitoes. But no bears, no mosquitoes. And the land is moss. No trees. no trees at all. I mean, I think I saw some kind of bush type trees that people have planted, but no regular trees. So it was cool. It was definitely a different. I mean, it felt like we were on a different planet. And if you guys want to know or want to see, look at the first video that was uploaded on this channel. It was called "Backpacking in the Aleutian Island of Alaska" or something like that. It was my first video I uploaded on this channel. It was a whole video dedicated to that trip and one of my most proud work, whatever. So yeah, he was telling me about this. I'm like, I mean, yeah, that'd be great, but can it actually happen? You know what I mean? So things just worked out, and he talked to his dad, and his dad's like, yeah, I can get you there and probably be able to get you the buddy passes. So he texted me or whatever, and he's like, yo man, this is happening. And I'm like, are you fishing is? And he's like, yeah. So I think he said we just had to pay to get to Anchorage, because from where we are to Anchorage, which is Washington State to Anchorage to Unalaska. So Washington, Anchorage, Unalaska. We had to pay from Washington to Anchorage, and that wasn't too bad. And I think we had to pay the tax on the Unalaska ticket or something along those lines. It wasn't too bad. I think it was like $300 per person, so it wasn't too bad. So shoot, I had something to say. Oh yeah, well, this is one I was gonna say, but it's from where Washington State to Unalaska, that's 600 miles. And also, I remember what I was gonna say. The tickets from Anchorage to Unalaska are regularly like, I mean, at least $600 per person, but I think more like in the thousands, because when we went there, it was, probably 90%. I apologize. It was 90% crabs, fishermen, because they make bank over there. And fun fact, the Deadliest Catch show is based out of Unalaska. We saw some of the people, and we saw the boat and all that jazz. It was fun. So I guess I'll just get to the point where we actually arrive. So it's a small plane. Probably fits like 30 people. Old plane, but an old plane's a good plane. Jeez, I'm sorry. I'm doing this early in the morning. So yeah, and Dallas's dad was flying it along with another co-pilot. So I think his dad landed it, and it's funny because, well, never mind. But yeah, his dad was landing it, I do believe, and he either landed it or took off when we left. But so we got there, and I have to say this right now, 2 weeks after we left there, that plane crashed. Luckily, Dallas's dad was not in it, but it crashed in that exact that airport. That there's only one landing strip, and on that landing strip, and it was complete pilot error. Um, he just messed up. He came in from the wrong side, and the wind was wrong, and everything like that. And one person sadly passed away. It's very sad, but I mean, it puts it into perspective because we were so close on that. You know what I mean? Um, and I mean that strip it's hard to land on. I mean, I obviously don't know anything about landing, but it's basically just water on both sides, and then a tiny landing strip. So you have to go down. I remember as me and Dallas were landing, we were getting down, 30 feet below. It's just ocean, and we're like, hopefully the airstrip is coming, and it's going, going, going. We're going quick, and then boom, out of nowhere, right as we're about to land on what looks like the ocean, the strip comes out of nowhere. I'm like, wow, that was professional. I mean, that was well done. Alice's dad knows how to do it. So yeah, we land down, and it's funny. Before I think in Anchorage, he was talking about, sometimes they have, um, buffet. Sometimes they have a full seafood buffet, all you can eat. I mean, at this hotel, and it's just the biggest hotel in Unalaska, and it's good. I mean, it's a nice hotel. I mean, it was expensive. I think it was like $250 a night. It was expensive, but and the buffet was like $40, which is, I mean, if you went at a restaurant and got the stuff we got, fresh Aleutian, deadliest catch, crab, swordfish, so many fish, and I mean, we got there late, so we were taking our time, and we got there late and we got the entire buffet to ourselves. Prime rib, like 4 different types of fish, all done up, and man, I mean, sushi. I mean, it was amazing. We dined, and the next. So yeah, I'll slow my roll a little bit, but not too slow, because I've been going way too slow. I'm sorry. So we land down, and Dallas is. I am like completely out of whack. Sorry. So basically, we luckily got there on the day they do the buffet, and the driver. There's some guy that worked for the hotel, and he just transports people that are going to the hotel for free. And the driver, super nice guy. He's like, we got a big buffet tonight. I'm like, oh, God bless. And God bless Dallas's dad, because he gave us money for the buffet. I mean, that was so huge. I can't even. I mean, so kind. And we dined like kings. I mean, probably 100% better than kings would have back then. You know what I mean? I mean, it was amazing. I mean, me and Dallas are actually kind of plan on going back this summer if we can do the buddy pass thing and everything, because no way we can pay for it on our own. It's just, I mean, it's too expensive. That's like $1,200 just to get there. But so yeah, we land down, big buffet tonight. We were pumped. We check into our room, $250 a night. But the other ones were like, little motels with like 5 rooms, and I mean, this one you couldn't have gone. I mean, it was amazing. So we got in our room, great room. I mean, especially great for being in the middle of nowhere. I think the only reason why they could afford to have that good of a hotel is because everybody comes over for the crab fishermen. They make bank and they have to stay there. And I think some companies like pay for their room, things like think of that nature. So yeah, and it's funny because we were standing in line. Everybody was fishermen, literally everyone, every single person, and a lot of the people were people that came from Washington, from where we were. It's kind of cool. We were on both planes to Unalaska, and they were talking amongst themselves because I guess they all knew each other, and we were just two knuckleheads sitting with like giant sacks filled with camping equipment and crap, and sorry, I should have said this a lot earlier. We went over there to camp, to backpack, not to stay in a hotel. So we had a tent and everything, and there's actually a volcano on that island as well. Pretty fun fact. So yeah, they were all talking amongst themselves, and two knuckleheads sitting there, and some nice fisherman comes up to us. I think his name was Mark. I'm not sure though. And he's like, "What boat are you guys on?" And we were like, "We're just some knuckleheads camping." We're like, "Wow, camping out here, and how many people do that?" Kind of worried us a little bit, because it's an island in the middle of the ocean, so we were kind of just praying. And there was a typhoon. Is it tycoon or typhoon? Whatever the right word is. Probably, I don't know, really close a couple weeks prior, and it dissipated enough to where we were like, boom, let's go. So we went then, and I mean, spoiler alert, the weather was ding dong perfect until the last night, and I'll get to that. And so yeah, that guy was just amazed that we were going there just to camp, and I mean that's a vacation for us, 100%. So I'd love to take some of my other friends there. They'd love it, I bet, especially my friend Josiah. But so yeah, got into our rooms, blah blah blah, had the buffet, absolutely amazing. Check out the video if you want to see what we got and everything. The next morning we got breakfast, and that was the day we were gonna head out to Ukadaga Bay, and that was just some hike trail that led off to a bay, and that's where we decided we were gonna set up camp. Because it was weird, because before we even left in Washington, we were looking on Google Maps and and just kind of seeing where should we go and everything, and it looked so much smaller on Google Maps, and then we got there and everything is huge. We just didn't think there was any way all this crap would be so big. But it's just giant mountains of moss. I mean, it looked incredible. Check out the video because it is incredible. And so yeah, so we decided on Ukadaga Bay, and that turned out to be amazing. So that morning we got breakfast in the hotel, delicious. Got some waffles, some strawberry waffles. So yeah, and then so we went back to our hotel, chilled, packed up, and before we left, we hit there was this saloon slash bar just right across the street from the hotel, and the town basically consisted of Safeway, hotel, saloon, and then down the way it was like this school and some other buildings, but those were the biggest buildings. Safeway was huge to have there. I mean, it was amazing. So we went to this Norwegian rat saloon, and it's funny because Dallas is Norwegian. So he was right at home, and that was amazing. It was packed in the middle of the day. It was hilarious. Um, and we got some beers and I think some food, and we just wanted to load up on food because we weren't going to be able to eat like kings until we got back to the hotel. At the inn, we thought that we weren't even going to be able to be back at the hotel. We weren't gonna. We were planning on only staying at the hotel once. We were actually planning on not staying at the hotel at all, and just getting off the plane, going straight there. But we realized that would just be rushing it, and we have the money. Let's do it. And I mean, that was so, that was so amazing. So we did it perfectly. You got to stay in the hotel the first night, camp the rest of the nights, and then stay in a hotel the last night. That's you couldn't do a better way. Um, so we were there a total of 4 days, and so sorry, I'm just trying to keep somewhat on track. So yeah, we got a few brews at the Norwegian Rat Saloon, some food, and then off we went. Backed up the hotel, bounced. We got there were these taxis everywhere, and the person that something like blue taxi or something like that. The person that helped us out was Linda. She was real nice, and everyone there was either a tourist from like Germany or Australia or somewhere crazy, a fisherman, or a Native American to the I don't know if it was Uanagan people or what, or maybe it was just the Unalaskan people. I mean, Unalaskan natives. I mean, but it would consist of those three people. So we stood out pretty fairly. So we got in the cab. She took us part of the way up the. I mean, it's weird. She didn't even know what this place was, which, come to think of it now, is a little weird because, I mean, it was a pretty popular trail, but whatever. She's probably just used to taking tourists to stores and hotels and maybe the volcano, I don't know. But so she took us part of the way, and we walked up the road leading to the trailhead. So it was actually quite a ways to get just to the trailhead, so we decided let's take it slow. We camped at the trailhead. So we spent the first night in the hotel, second night in the trailhead, set up camp right next to this. I mean, there were two pretty big lakes, and I mean lakes / ponds, really. More like a pond, probably 50 feet across, if that. And we did some cool stuff. We made some clay balls. Actually, we were there for 5 days total. 5 days total. So we made some clay balls. We explored. We found an abandoned. And this is another thing that I didn't even say. A war happened there. World War II, I believe. World War I or World War II? I believe World War II against I believe Japanese. I apologize if it's not, but a straight up war. There were bunkers everywhere. I mean, on top of the mountains, down low. And when we camped at that spot, we found this old abandoned lookout from the war. And it was crazy, and I swear, I mean, I know some of you don't believe in this at all, but we walked into that place, and instantly, without saying anything to each other, we both felt incredibly weird, like we just stepped into a room. But the entire thing, there was no structure. It was just like stone buildup and abandoned wood and some like tin things where I'm sure they had a fire inside of. It was almost like we stepped in a room. Like everything else was like couldn't hear the wind anymore, and we felt really uneasy. And then we finally said, like, "Do you feel weird right here?" And we totally felt the exact same thing. It was weird. We paid our respects and bounced, and that was that. And we found some obsidian, which is super awesome. We made a little obsidian tower, which no way is standing to this day um, because it's so windy, but who knows? And so yeah, we just stacked up some obsidian. Looks cool. I mean, and the ground, I can't explain this exactly how it is, but as we walked on the ground, it was as if we were the first people that were walking there in 50, 100 years almost. I mean, I know there's no way because, well, maybe 50 since the war, but I mean, it was like no stone was out of place. It all perfectly interlocked with each other. You know, I mean, you go on a hike now and it's just ran through. I mean, we didn't even go that far off the beaten path, too. It was amazing, and like nowhere else I've ever been. Even the obsidian was locked in, and like in a way where it was a vein, we could follow it down the mountain. It was crazy. So we camped there the first night. Set up camp right next to the little pond. Made some clay balls because surrounding the lake, pond, whatever, which is clay. So we made some clay balls. We were gonna make a fire, but we quickly realized that no trees, no wood. You know what I mean? So didn't make a fire there. We thought, well, there's for sure gonna be beech wood, washed up wood. Spoiler alert, there wasn't. Probably three logs on that whole ding dong bay beach, but we'll get to that. Oh shoot, my battery's running low. It's only 34 minutes. See, that's a weird thing. I turned on my GoPro, because I know, super ghetto, but I'm shooting this on a GoPro. I've got a DSLR, but I'm just worried about it overheating. I don't know. I'll think about using it. But like, I turned on my GoPro, 100%. I set things up, I look, 98. I'm like, oh shoot. I set things up, get everything going. It's 96. I'm like, what the crap? Like, I'm not even recording. So yeah, it's like 30% right now. So I'll split this into 2 parts. Simple as that. The Unalaska trip part 1, and then part 2 is when we get to the actual bay. So the supplies we brought on this trip was, I mean, if we could have done it again, we would have done it so much differently, but me and Dallas have been on some trips. We've been on some trips, and we've never had a trip like this. We've been on some trips that were colder than this, were more difficult than this, but nothing like this. But basically, and I'll get into that when we get into some other adventures that we were on, because we've had some crazy ones. And I'm not tooting my horn. We really have been on some crazy ones. Below freezing in the negatives. Dallas properly, it was, practically it was blue and could snap in half. Poor Dallas. But, so yeah, supplies. Sleeping bag each. Sleeping bag just one. We snuggled. No, one sleeping bag each. Bunch of clothes to bundle up in case it got cold. Come to think of it, I don't even think we brought gloves, which was dumb. Good hiking boots. Waterproof. Of course, you have to get waterproof. Shoes if you're on an adventure. If you don't, then you're in trouble. We had, for warmth, we had space blankets. I had some candles, but we didn't end up using them. And some Fireball, which it was only like this big. Because that was actually my mom's suggestion, which God bless her, because if we didn't have that, it would have been a lot worse. But we went through that the first 2 nights. And if we had more of that, that would have been a complete game changer. But come to think of it, maybe we should have gotten vodka. But who knows, whatever. We had a little bit of Fireball. And most importantly, probably was a little Mr. Buddy propane heater. Just ran out of propane and it heated, and it was called, I think, a Mr. Buddy. Something like that. And we had to, it was a little difficult because, we didn't want to, die in the tent of it filling with propane or whatever, so we kind of would just have to turn it on whenever we really needed it and turn it off before we go to bed, basically. But if we did it again, we probably wouldn't have even brought that. We would have just brought sleeping pads, because that's where the heat gets transferred, and that makes it a lot more comfortable. I don't know why we didn't do that. Sleeping pads, so huge. Sleeping pads, better sleeping bags, just should have. And we brought a bunch of food. God bless my grandma, because we probably would have starved out there without her. She gave us jerky. She gave us, she makes this, I think it's called goulash. It's basically like trail mix, but the most amazing combination of dried fruits and delicious nuts. And, without that, we would have died. Not really, but that made it to where we actually ate enough to have the energy to do what we needed to do. You know what I mean? God bless her for that. She even gave us some Kenai lures, some original Kenai lures to fish. And, spoiler alert, we saw thousands of fish. But I'll get to that in the next part, you know what I mean? So I'm just trying to end on a full note before I get to part 2, because my GoPro's about to die. In the future, I'll probably use my phone or something, because, I'll use my phone. I've got a freaking iPhone 12 Pro Max. What am I doing? I'm just afraid of it, overheating or some baloney like that. So, yes, sir. That's what we brought. I could go into a whole different story of what we should have brought. But and we're going on a camping trip with Dallas and my friend Josiah this summer. We're going on a few trips, but hopefully a few camping trips as well. But we're going on some vacation trips as well. I'm beyond excited for those. So, but the thing is, a vacation for us is a vacation and a camping trip is completely different. A vacation is somewhere we have somewhere warm to sleep, like, a condo or a hotel or something. But during the day we go out and hike and we do our camping nature stuff. But we have somewhere warm to sleep. Camping trip is we do all the outdoor stuff, but then we sleep in a tent. And I'm sure you guys already could have assumed that before I even said anything. I basically was just trying to get the point across that a vacation isn't for us going to a hotel and going to, I don't know, like Las Vegas or something. No way in heck. So, yeah, we'll have a bunch of adventures to talk about this summer. And until we get there, I've got a bunch of adventures to talk about in the past. So, yeah, I think, we spent the night. I mean, each night that we weren't sleeping in a hotel, that each night in Unalaska that we slept in the tent was pretty difficult. Pretty sleepless nights. We probably got a total of probably 6 hours each. 5, 6. I don't know, it's hard to say because you wake up so often just because, I was afraid of the tent camping on fire. I just got incredibly high anxiety, and it'd be funny because a lot of the times we'd both wake up at the same time. We'd just be like, hey, go back to sleep. It's funny. But man, I mean, just being out there in the middle of nowhere, and in the nights, the wind goes crazy, and just knowing we're on an island in the middle of ding-dong nowhere. I mean, it's a feeling that just gives me so much happiness, because if all else fails in life, I'll just become homeless and walk the land, and I'll be perfectly fine. I'll be sad, probably. I just need to get into the mind state. Because I'll have a whole podcast dedicated to life. You know what I mean? And I could have 70 podcasts, because, just talking about life, and gosh dang, this such a trip. But, I think I'm basically rambling at this point. So, sleep this night, we wake up, have some tea, and we wanted to get to Ugadaga Bay immediately, and it was probably 2 miles to get there, and the trail getting there was, I want to take my dad one day because he would love it. It was a trail probably this thin, probably if you're not watching this, probably like, a foot max. And because it was made by the Okanagan people, and just hand dug. And it was amazing. Watch the video, please, because it's breathtaking. But yeah, we woke up early, packed up camp, and started the journey to Ugadaga Bay, which that's when the crap really starts happening. But in part 2, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, leave a like. If you want to know anything specific about me, my life, any questions you have, please post them in the comments. Pretty open to anything. And yeah, I really do hope you guys are enjoying this. And again, I apologize. I'm slowly getting better at, well, hopefully, slowly getting better at podcasting. And I mean, there's two different sides of this. You know, there's the electronic standpoint because I'm doing this all by myself. I've got, you know what I mean, and I know I could just do it off my ding dong webcam and have the audio already synced, and heck, maybe I will, but I just want to have the absolute highest quality as possible. You know what I mean? So, yeah, and also so the electronic side, and then the obviously talking side, and talking, making it, you know, funny, because I want it to be funny and insightful. You know what I mean? Because I just live, in the words of Chris D'Elia, which, I mean, I don't know what, he's in kind of a funk right now. But I live for a silly goose time, and that's it. Silly goose time, and that's it. You know what I mean? But, yeah, so I don't want this to be too intense in any way. I want to be funny and insightful. Simple as that. So yeah, bear with me. This is only a second episode, you know what I mean? And hopefully we'll get better by the 1,000th. In 1,000 weeks, will that be like 5 years? I don't even know how many. It'll probably be like 500 in that time. But, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed. I really do. And if you watched the whole way through, thank you. I mean, Jiminy Crickets. Wow. Thank you. Till next time. Peace.